Hi, I'm the Ancient Ninja, and this is the Nexus of Truth. Okay, today's subject is going to be a little more focused on some recent events that have been happening in the past few months. On this channel, I don't talk in certainties, I decipher them. So I want that to be kept in mind when I'm reading and going over all these things. I'm not insinuating or assuming, I just am pointing out some connections I made because that's what we do, we speculate. The title of the video is, does the recent discovery of an ancient Roman cemetery in Gaza have connections to the Roman Empire trend and current Israeli conflict? I know you probably took a gulp when you heard that because it's kind of a little serious. We have war going on all around us. There's war happening in many areas of the world and spiritual war happening all over. So my heart goes out to all of the innocent people involved in everything and in every area aspect of all affairs. I want to get into kind of how I started making these connections. If you're not familiar with the Roman Empire trend, it is a trend that started on social media, I would say probably last month. I'm not a TikToker, but it kind of spilled its way over onto YouTube, so that's when I saw it. Basically, the whole premise of it was asking people how often they think about the Roman Empire. I know this is a hot take, but I don't think that the Roman Empire ever collapsed. I think it just rebranded. So that's a completely different subject for another day. But yeah, I want to kind of talk about why I saw some connections with all of these things. So if you're not familiar, which, you know, you have to be living under a rock to not know, by the time this video goes up tomorrow, there has been an attack on Israeli, specifically the Gaza Strip. It just, I think it happened sometime last night, but it was just announced today. And I was doing some research on some things based on some personal accounts of my own, and was finding that there's actually, this year, they discovered an ancient Roman cemetery on the Gaza Strip. And I want to kind of read a little bit about that to you guys. I'm going to link all of this stuff below so you can read it for yourself. I'll just kind of start with the title, Roman Era Cemetery with over 100 tombs unearthed in Gaza. The unprecedented dig also yielded 2 rare lead sarcophagi decorated with images of grapes and dolphin. So archaeologists have unearthed 2 rare lead sarcophagi, at least 125 tombs at a Roman era cemetery in Gaza. This series of finds is unprecedented, says Jamal Abu Rida, General Director of Gaza's Antiques Ministry. So it goes on to say that they discovered the site, which stretches over 43,000 square feet, while working on an Egyptian-funded housing project last year. It's remarkably well preserved. Roman aristocrats were likely buried in the graves, many of which still contain skeletal remains. And one of their lead archaeologists, however you want to say it, actually said it's rare to discover an intact Roman burial site where nothing has been stolen. So there's actually some conflicts about things being stolen from tombs that happened over in Israeli. Actually, it was around last year that they said Jonah's tomb was destroyed. So, and tombs are getting looted all the time. There's actually another one, the Islamic State looting uncovers ancient palace beneath Jonah's tomb. There was a looting that happened, and if you're not familiar with Jonah, it's from the Bible. Jonah is one of the people in the Bible that has a book in the Bible. So his tomb is, or was, I guess, buried around there. And this is all also based on what they say. I actually started discovering that that happened because I saw that the sarcophaga that they found at this Roman burial site, one of the two, had dolphins and grapes on them, and immediately thought of Jonah. And then I realized that Jonah already had a tomb that was supposedly discovered, and it was actually robbed by grave robbers, and then destroyed. The article I placed kind of in the description: the Islamic State looting uncovers ancient palace beneath Jonah's tomb. This was actually in 2017 that this article was placed. So for the past few years, there's been a lot of discovery in terms of cemeteries, tombs, artifacts, things like that happening over in Israel. Now, I found that very curious because the same place that they found this ancient Roman cemetery is the same area that was actually attacked in Israel this past day. Now, that also kind of sparked my interest into thinking, wasn't there just a trend going on social media where people were saying, let's talk about Rome. Do you guys remember Rome? All these things. And I know if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, like, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you're thinking this, like, it's just a trend, you got to understand the way that these things work. Trends are purposely placed in the algorithm for a reason. So many things serve as distractions, and often these trends that go viral on social media, there's a reason behind them. And I know many people don't want to believe that. They want to think that trends just pop off, but social media is absolutely a tool of distraction. It has served as that many a times. Many of the things that have went on social media and have hit headlines that have been popular have also been going on while extremely important things were happening around the world, because they know that people will rather tune in to these superficial stories rather than focus on the real things happening in the world. So while everyone's thinking, do you think about Rome? They're actually excavating an ancient Roman cemetery in Israel, and nobody's talking about that. So that just kind of shows you how disconnected we are from everything. And I also want to point out that many of the things that they will report on the news as to reasons why war is happening, you never know what's going on. They're going to report one thing and the reality is going to be another. So people have this idea of believing everything that they read, believing every narrative that's pushed by the media. And I think we really need to start not only questioning that, but also discovering things for ourselves, researching, looking up, because often we will find that the information is out there, it's presented to us, it's laid out, and we can look at it on our own. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this and, go into some points that I found in terms of this ancient archaeological site being found. And I thought it was very curious that since Israel was, attacked today, that same area, like I said, was just excavated. So I'm sure they took the sarcophaga to the location, the museum. I didn't read anything up on that, but obviously if they excavated it this year, they probably have it in a safe place. But we now know that same area that was excavated and looked at and discovered is probably most likely destroyed. So ask yourself, why is an area that they just did excavating on, finding all of these Roman artifacts, that ancient Roman cemetery that you heard an archaeologist, a lead archaeologist, say himself, it's rare to find tombs intact like this. Why at that same time we see this year a trend in the Roman Empire trend being pushed, right? So yeah, I just wanted to put up a quick video about this. This one wasn't intended to be long. It's more so meant to be kind of like a little thinking point for you guys, so you can put together your own clues, discover your own narratives, and really start thinking. I'm not undermining any problems happening. Two things can be true at the same time. There's many reasons why these countries are going to war and conflicting and all of that. But Jerusalem, the holy city, is in Israel, and whether you are religious or not, or you read any ancient text, Jerusalem is known as the holy city, the center of the world. So it holds a very important part in the spiritual battle that is currently happening in our world. So I think it's important that we remember that, and we try to always question the mainstream narrative, always question why things are happening. Don't let our emotions overcome our logic, because right now there's a war happening everywhere. The earth is purging wickedness, and it's truly happening on a grand scale. So yeah, well, that's all for today. I'm going to link everything that I have below so you guys can look at that and come up with your own ideas, speculate to be speculating. Well, as always though, just remember, keep it pointy.